Yeah, so I grew up. Uh, Basketball was the first sport that I played because I started at 4 years old. But I played three sports growing up, which was basketball, American football, and baseball.
Okay.
And really, out of all those three, basketball was the least one that was probably my least favorite. Football was my favorite for sure,
Okay.
and then baseball, and playing wise, and then basketball. I started towards as I got older. I started to have the love and the passion for basketball. But I played three sports all the way through high school, and uh, football was really something that I enjoyed playing the most. And I really thought I would play college football. But, obviously my mom thought that it would be best for me to play basketball because be less injuries
Yeah.
and less violent. but
Yeah.
uh, so I did choose basketball, obviously, to play basketball in college. But yeah, I grew up with two older sisters. I'm the youngest in my family and the only boy. So as you can see, I had to grow up pretty fast to be like the man of the house because I had no father figure. Well,
Okay.
my dad wasn't in my life,
Mm-mm.
and that was something that for me, I look back, it was a blessing because my mom used sports to keep me around male role models in my life,
Yeah.
because my father wasn't around. So if it
Yeah.
wasn't for that, who knows if my mom would have put me in all these sports
Mm-mm.
growing up. And that was something that kind of drove me um, to be so good in sports and to work very, very hard. It was because I wanted to be really, really good and great because I kind of use that as a chip on my shoulder because my dad wasn't in my life. I wanted to be great to show him what he was missing out on, and eventually my dad did come back in my life as I got older in high
Oh.
school, and we developed a great relationship, and that's a whole nother story and podcast. But yeah, to make a long story short, um, that was something that really fueled me to be good, was that upbringing. And so from there, I moved, and my mom wanted a father figure in my life, so she had me move to the state of Washington. Who
Oh.
my uncle lived there because he was in the military, and I think that's where I found a lot of my discipline and respect, and um, was when I went to live with my uncle, her brother, um, because we lived on a military base, and my uncle was a no BS kind of guy, and he put me in Taekwondo,
Oh, okay.
um, and in Taekwondo, that's where I learned a lot about
Yes.
respect and kind of controlling my anger because I was such an angry kid because of certain things that has happened in my
Mm-mm.
childhood. So I had a lot of anger, and so he put me in Taekwondo to kind of learn. That's where I learned a lot of respect and discipline and how to channel my anger and my aggression into a sport,
Mm-hmm.
really. So that's why you see me and I play very aggressive, and I play with a lot of
Competitive.
I play with a
Yeah.
lot of passion,
Yeah.
and that's where it comes from. So yeah, from there I went to college in Los Angeles, and that was something that I chose to do because it was a private Christian college, and I had few D1 offers, and my dream was always to go to Division 1,
Mm-hmm.
but I used to get into a lot of trouble, and there was a guy by the name of Gus Armstead, who is he's a big time trainer where I'm from in Sacramento, but he was more like a father figure for me, and he really really guided me and pretty much saved my life, with how he guided me, and he thought it'd be best for me to go to a private Christian college, so that's where I went. And my first day on campus, I tried to leave. uh, my first day on campus, my ego got in the way, and I was like, I don't belong here. I called up the college coach from Cal State San Bernardino, where Jimmy
Oh,
Alapag went,
yeah. Yeah, I've heard that school. Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy Olapog went there, and they had a full ride offer for me, and they were down the street. So I called them and asked them if they still had an offer for me, and they said yes. They told me to drive my car up to their college. The next day, I packed all my stuff and left my school and went to that school. And they showed me the campus. They got me an apartment, and they flew me back home. They flew me back home because they were on a quarter system, so their school didn't start for another month and a half. So
Oh, okay,
they
okay.
flew me back home, and I ended up going to church that Sunday. And that guy Gus Armstead was there, and he was one of the pastors, and he
Mm.
started praying for me. And when he was praying for me, I could just kind of feel in my spirit that I was running away from where God wanted me to be. So with that, I called up the coach from Biola University, and I asked him. I told him, "Hey, I left. I felt like I didn't want to be there. I wanted to play Division I basketball." And so I asked him if he'll accept me back, and he accepted me back in open arms. And that was the best decision I ever made in my life. Was going back to that school. I met some lifelong friends. I was able to learn from one of the most winningest coaches in the history of NCAA basketball. And I learned a lot off the court about myself, life lessons.